Sangha, by my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanye Joda Soge Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapsoch Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benjere Sanye Drubara Shom Sanye Joda Soge Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapsoch Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benjere Sanye Drubara Shom Sangye Joda Zoge Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Dola Benjere Sangye Jubare Shom Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Datha Gato Yevatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Datha Gato Yevatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Svaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Datha Gato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Svaha. Okay, all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light, non-composite, such as the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the professional wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times, I be obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dhamma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is also everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realization is not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine a light of Dharma for all bewildered mysteries glow. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay. We are talking about the non-composite phenomena. So how many of you got some sense of what is permanent phenomena, which may not be eternal? Which sense? How many get some sense? Good. Okay. So Jyoti, you have a question? Okay, this is a very good question. Thank you. So why do we have to learn the absence of the elephant, absence of chocolate, and so forth, to be permanent, impermanent, so forth? This is extremely important subject, And they say, why we suffer is because of seeing the dream as real. You're getting it? In the dream, when you have the nightmare, why we suffer is, why we are being tormented by the dream, the nightmare, is that we see the dream as real. Dream as objectively real. Now, when does this fear dissolve? When you wake up. How does it help? When you wake up, your fear dissolves. In what way it helps? Is by, you agree with me or not, is by us the realizing, discovering that the dream is empty of objective reality. You agree with me? You agree with me? When you discover that the dream, the nightmare, the contents of which a dream ghost chasing you, or a dream tiger chasing you, this is all empty of being real. When you know that, your fear dissolves. So, empty of being real. What does it mean? It means absence of being real. Absence of being real. You're getting it? So if you know the absence of being real, then your fears dissolve. So, not only the dream, even the unconventional dream, what is happening in the day-to-day, say every day, 24 hours. So even these, you see them as object real. Okay, just pick up something from your table and show that to me. And look at it yourself. How does it appear to you? As object real, or like just like a dream your mind is projecting it? How does it appear to you? As objectively real. That is the ignorance. You're getting it? That is the one which creates all your problems, the fears, anxiety, stress, and so forth. You're getting it? Okay. So now, okay. So if you say no, if you say this is not true, it's no, you are speaking from your heart. So now is the time, say, okay, no, that's not true, that's real. Okay, so this is to be revolutionized, right? So at least, thus far your answer is coming from your heart, but also don't be close-minded. Maintain an open mind. You getting it? Oh, is it? No, it can't be. But let me learn how he's saying that it's not from the object. You're right? Are you open to that? Okay. So with this, if you come to learn that, if you come to learn that object that I'm seeing now, it is all coming from my mind, not from the object, right? Things which trigger attachment to me, things which trigger fear in me, things which trigger agitation in me. How many of you feel agitated sometimes? Raise hands. Oh, you're the girl there? No agitation? No agitation? Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations, right? Agitation disturbs you and disturbs everybody else, right? Better not have agitation. Okay, so the point is that where the agitation happens, you are seeing things as objectively real, right? So when you see that, it's not really object real, it's like coming from a mind, like a dream. When you discover that, then the agitation will subside. If your this understanding is 10%, then agitation subsides 10%. 90% agitation is still there. If your understanding, if this experience is like 50%, it improves from 10, 20, 30, 40, 15, then the agitation subsides 50%. 50% agitation is still there. But your family will be more happy. Usually it's 100% agitation, now it's 50%. So, your experience of this is like 100%, then your agitation subsides completely. You getting it? So, the absence of the object reality. Discovering this, your agitation subsides, your fear subsides. The greatest thing, if there's a pill, you take it and all your fears dissolve. Everybody will buy it. You agree with me or not?
What is that pill? To the absence of the object reality. That absence has to be discovered. That is a pill. You take it and your fears dissolve. So that is so precious to know this. You're getting it? So first, say a small child is sent to school, A for apple, B for ball, right? This is not the ultimate thing. This is the child, you are making the child to exercise the brain, A for apple. So when you reach class 12, when you reach college, still A for apple, B for ball, then this is not too good. You're getting it? So there you should speak of equals MC square. You're getting it? Don't just say still A for apple, B for ball. So this is a means to get there. So likewise, absence of chocolate is a means to take us to the absence of, absence of objective reality. You're getting it? Once you get there, then your fears dissolve. What is your goal? Goal in means, don't forget it. What's the goal? Fearlessness and the infinite happiness. You're getting it? So this is a means to take you to the experience of fearlessness. This is so precious. Good. Okay. So now the next thing is that in what way, how do we wake up from the sleep of ignorance? This is the major question. How do we wake up from the sleep of ignorance? For this, one thing that we need to keep in mind is that waking up, the benefit is that you discover that whatever you see in the dream, whatever you saw in the dream as object real, you come to know that these are all empty of objective existence. They're all absent of objective existence. Then your fears dissolve. This is the meaning of waking up. Now, for that matter, so this is like the absence of things are all the absence of object reality, absence, emptiness, being empty of object reality, empty of object reality. This is what we need to discover. That's the meaning of waking up. Only when you wake up, you realize that the dream is empty of being real. So that happens in the time of the waking up. So how to wake up? How to wake up? This is the point. So for that matter, this emptiness that we are talking about, it is not nothingness. It is not nothingness. Okay. So this is so important. So if you really want to know the emptiness as taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni and as by Nagarjuna, we must ask two questions. The first question is, do things exist? Do things exist? What's the answer?
Yes. Yes and no.
If you say no, or if you say yes or no, right? Or if you say no, or if you say yes or no, you are into nihilism. Things exist. If things don't exist, why should you come to this class? Right? If things don't exist, why should you have to have the COVID vaccine? Why should you have to go for lunch? Why do you have to go crave for the sun? How many crave for the sun today, raise hands, to be very honest? If things don't exist, why do you have to crave for sun? You're getting it? We should be very realistic. Let's be very realistic. Only if you're being realistic, you will reach somewhere. If you're never realistic, you lead in the real life. You talk something else which is not real. You're getting it? Say, for example, you're a Buddha. You're not a Buddha. You should be very realistic. You're not Buddha. Right? If you're a Buddha, why do you have to attend classes? Why do you have to study? Why do you have to practice? You're not Buddha, that's for sure. But we have the seed of the Buddhahood. We have the seed of the perfection. Let's not forget it. We should be very realistic. You're getting it? So don't just be trapped, don't just be, mesmerized by the fancy talks, which is totally unrealistic. Your real is very different. You talk so, we're all enlightened and so forth, and finally you have to go to the kitchen for food. Right? Which means that you are not enlightened. Why should enlightened being have to go to kitchen? We should be very realistic. Only if you have realistic, you have the ground. Only when you have a ground, then you can, from there you can walk. Without the ground, you cannot walk. Without walking, you will not reach anywhere. So we should be very realistic. So the first question is, to talk about emptiness, the first question is, do things exist? If the answer is no, this is all illusion. Things don't exist. This is nihilism. This is not emptiness. You're getting it? This is not emptiness. This is nihilism. Only if you say yes, things exist. Yes, of course. Right? Those people who said that, okay, this is coming from my mind. No. Those who said no. I like you people because you are very realistic. You're getting it? So this is how we have to begin. Begin from the ground. Don't begin from the air. From the air you can fall. Begin from the ground. You must be very realistic. Do things exist? Answer should be yes. Right? Answer should be yes. And some people, very interesting, the Bodhicitta retreats, which we conduct in many places, after attending all these classes, then they think that they realize emptiness. Right? Then they email me, oh, Geshe-la, I'm not meditating emptiness, it's beautiful, nothing exists. And then sometimes they write to me, Geshe-la, emptiness is so beautiful when I have no problem. When I have problem, when I'm in pain, then emptiness is real. Whereas emptiness is so real. Okay, which means earlier you thought you got emptiness, you got nihilism. You did not get emptiness. If you get emptiness, it will not contradict with your experiences. If it contradicts with your experience, this is nihilism, it's not emptiness. You're getting it? It should not contradict with your experience. And later on, it's so real, the pain is so real, where's emptiness? Which means that you have not understood emptiness. You are trapped in nihilism. You getting it? So the first question is, do things exist? If the answer is yes, then there's a chance that you can understand emptiness. If you say that no, you fall in nihilism. Till you go back to this question and get the answer yes, things do exist, then you can go for the next question. Next question is, do things exist objectively? Okay, here, if you say yes, things exist objectively, this is absolutism, extreme of absolutism. First one is, where you say no, is extreme of nihilism. But the second, if you say, do things exist objectively? If you say yes, this is absolutism. So here the answer should be no. But to say no, you have to learn how no. Don't just say no, right? No, now I'm perfect. I got the two answers correct. There's nothing there, even if you get the correct answers to the questions. As long as if you don't understand how things don't exist objectively, then it's just stories. That you can tell stories. Yeah, that nothing exists truly. Okay. So, yes.
Is it fair to say that the purpose of the object exists, but the object does not exist?
No, this is contradictory. You say object exists, object doesn't. This is contradictory. So never live in the world of contradiction. You getting it? Never live in the world of contradiction. Contradiction is a confusion. Confusion will take you into suffering. You getting it? When you're confused, somebody says this is the way, right side is the way. Somebody says no, left side is the way. Then what do you say? I'm confused now, right? Are you happy or not happy? Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so confused now. No, confusion is unhappiness. Don't live in the world of confusion.
But the function exists, right?
Not only that, the mug exists. The mug exists.
Mug does not exist, but the purpose, the function that it has to do.
Okay, do you exist? Do you exist? Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Okay, don't interrupt me at this point. You're getting it? First, let us start. So these two questions. Many questions there. People study for 20, 30 years. Don't expect to get it within 2 days. You're getting it? But you have to study this. First, study systematically. Study systematic. You're bound to come up with many questions. And I'll be very happy if you come with your questions after studying them systematically. If you don't study systematically, it's a waste of my time, it's a waste of your time. Because what happens was that it was in a center. I will not mention the name of the center. In the center, there was one gentleman. And he was in the center for like 20 years. And he's an intelligent person, but he never studied systematically. And of course, he's senior. 20 years means very senior. And there was one girl who was very junior, who just was in the center for about a year. And then in the class, I asked a question. And the gentleman, he raised his hand. And of course, I always give preference to him because he's a very senior. I have to respect his seniority. The answer that he gave is, he's very intelligent otherwise. And he already learned many things from this teacher, this, but never studied systematically. And he takes for granted, okay, I know this. I give the answer. Okay, answer is so. Then I asked the same question to anybody else. And this young girl raised her hand, gave the answer. She gave a brilliant answer. I was so impressed. And I asked, how many years you were in the center? She said, only 1 year. Wow. And later on she said that, I am doing another master's course. So she said that I'm doing another master's course. She's studying very systematically. And this gentleman was not studying systematically at all. And I feel so close to him. One day, I told him, not really one day, when I was there in this center, I told him that, okay, tell me, did you see the difference in the answer that you gave and the answer that the girl gave? Did you see the difference? And he's very honest. He said, yes. And I said, what's the difference? And he said that mine one, the answer that he gave, he said that it was like you are somewhere there, they're all disconnected. There's a huge disconnect between what he's saying. Whereas what this girl said is it's very smooth transition happening there. Everybody can easily be convinced of this answer. This is the difference. And I told him, do you know why this difference happens? This girl has been in Dharma only for 1 year. You have been in Dharma for 20 years. Do you know why this difference came? You're not a dull person. You're a very intelligent person. Why this different? Because this girl is studying very systematically. Because she knows every A, B, C, D, E, F. You know A, G, F, L, X, Y, then Z, like this. You don't know A, B, C, D. And this girl knows A, B, C, D. Right? This is the difference. So first, study well. Only if you study well systematically, and then if you come to questions, it is my joy to have some help to you. And not only that, I can help you, you can also help me. Your questions can be very helpful to me. So whereas if you don't study too well, and then just jump here or there like this, digging too many wells, and then it's just waste of your time. It's waste of others' time. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, so here that for the next few days, meaning 2-3 days, let us focus on to listen, to get information. Without information, you cannot talk anything, right? Oh, you said that, then you can just interrupt me. You said this object, no, it is there. You're like this, it's going to be endless. You will not learn anything. So this question you can ask any way you like. So what I'm saying is that for the next 2 days, let us pay more attention, learn what the other person has to say. What do you have to say? You ought to know this. Why do you have to say this? Again, you getting it? So you first learn more the 2 days. And in the monastery universities, don't say that I studied business for 2 days. Don't say this. They will laugh at you. Right? They will ask you, I studied emptiness with Geshe Dorji Damdul. Wow, how many years? 2 days. They will expect you to have studied minimum like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, 9 years. You're getting it? And just 2 days. Okay. So, what are 2 questions? Two things exist. What's the answer? Yes. If you say no, nihilism. Only if you say yes to the first question, then you are entitled to go for the second question. What's the second question? Two things exist objectively. If you say yes, this is absolutism. So the answer should be no. But to give the answer no, the person will ask you how no. You're getting it? How no. Okay, so now we're going to give the answer how no. How things don't exist objectively. For that, we need to know what is known as this is very important. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness means dependent origination. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness is the meaning of dependent origination. Dependent arising or dependent origination. Okay, first write it. First write it, I'll explain it. Right? Okay. Dependent origination. Origination meaning something comes into arising, something comes into existence. Right? Apple tree originates from apple seeds. Okay. Dependent origination. Emptiness means dependent origination. Emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Number one. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Let me repeat it. Emptiness means dependent origination, number one. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Okay, the first, how is emptiness dependent origination? You're getting it? I can say the complicated topics, complicated things, but I have to prove that. I have to convince that rationally. If there's no rational basis there, it's just a talk. So how is emptiness dependent origination? In other words, if I tell you that A equals B, B equals C, what is your deduction? Therefore, A equals C. It's your job. You're getting it? I tell you A equals B, B equals C, then your job is to say that A equals C. So likewise, I'm saying emptiness equals dependent origination, and dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. It is not nihilism. You're getting it? So for this, first we have to know how is emptiness the dependent origination. How is that emptiness equals dependent origination? For that, we need to know 5 points. How is emptiness equals dependent origination? 5 points. Okay, number one is emptiness. Number one is emptiness. Number two, okay, how many of you know who? How many of you know who? Huh? Say it again.
The health organization?
Health organization.
WHO. She's asking, do you mean WHO?
No, she's here.
Yeah, do you mean the health organization? The
Worldwide.
World Health Organization.
Worldwide organization is WW. World Health Organization. No, what do you say?
Yeah, World Health Organization.
You said Worldwide Health Organization, right?
Yeah.
This is WHO. Yes. Okay. So, what is who? Who is who? Right? Oh, this is not what I meant. Who is, what is your name? What Ella said. Who means World Health Organization. You're getting it? I'm not asking who's who. I'm asking, what is this? Is the short form of what? This is what I'm asking. Who? WHO, World Health Organization. So, WHO is not who. It is short form of World Health Organization. You're getting it? Likewise, emptiness is not emptiness. It's a short form of emptiness of independent existence. So number one is emptiness. Number two is that it is the short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number two. Emptiness of independent existence. Number 3, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3, nothing exists independently. Nothing exists independently means, number 4, nothing exists independently means everything exists by, hey, nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. You get this, number 4. Number 5, everything exists by dependence. Number 4, this is number 4. Everything exists by dependence. This is number 4. Okay, number 5. Everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently originated. You're getting it? So from these 5 points, we come to know that emptiness is not nothingness. It means dependent origination. Okay, first part is done. A equals B is done. Now next is B equals C. What is B equals C? Hey. What is B equals C? Joshua? Dependent origination means the middle way. How is dependent origination? How does it mean the middle way? Okay. Dependent origination. Are you ready? Ready? Okay. Dependent origination has 2 sides. Dependence and origination, 2 sides. You're getting it? The first, dependence. When you say dependence, what is the opposite of dependence? Independence. When you say dependence, it rejects independence. Independence, independent existence, and absolute existence, they mean the same. So by dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. The first part, dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism because it rejects the extreme of independence. Dependence. What is next? Origination. When you say origination, origination means something comes into origination. Something comes into existence. What's the opposite of existence? Non-existence. So when you say origination, non-existence is rejected. Nihilism is rejected. Non-existence is nihilism. So with origination, nihilism is rejected. Now, dependence and origination, bringing them together, rejects the 2 extremes. Bringing them together, dependent origination, rejects the 2 extremes. Rejecting the 2 extremes is following the middle way. Therefore, dependent origination means the middle way. Which one? Second one, first one? Second one. How dependent origination equals the middle way, right? So for this, dependent origination has 2 sides, dependence and origination. So first, dependence. When you say dependence, what's the opposite of dependence? Independence. When you say dependence, independence is rejected. And independence, independent existence, and absolute existence, these 2 mean the same. So when you say dependence, it rejects independent existence or absolute existence. Absolutism is rejected. Other side, what is the other side? Origination. When you say origination, it says something is originating. Something comes into existence. What's the opposite of existence? Non-existence, nihilism. So origination, nihilism is rejected. So bringing the dependence and origination together, the 2 extremes are rejected. Rejecting the 2 extremes is following the middle way. So therefore, dependent origination means the middle way. Now, what is your deduction? Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. You getting it? Okay, good. Good. Now, okay, yes.
I had a fundamental doubt. Can we always equate origination to existence? For existence, origination is necessary. But in conventional frames, you could think of existence once, you could have a dependent origination, but you could think of it an independent existence.
Can you give an example?
In conventional phrase, you could think of a child being born dependent on two parents coming together.
Perfect.
Once they are born, the child could be thought of as existing independently.
Okay, this is a good point. So, this is what I call as being very realistic. We should be very realistic. So what he said is that the child initially comes into existence on this earth by the combination of two parents. By dependence of two parents, the child comes into existence. Okay, dependent origination, that's fine. Once the child is born, for a few years, till 14, 15 years, the child is so vulnerable, right? Vulnerable, and the child's love towards the parents is so much because the child is vulnerable. The parents are there to support, so the child feels that child is dependent on the parents. So whereas for you, you said that once the child comes out, then the child becomes independent. But I would say that still there's a dependency there because the child is vulnerable. Vulnerable meaning for the child's existence, so it's dependent on parents. Then the child becomes age 16, 17, physically they're a little stronger, they become very complicated, right? Then they want to stay away from parents, right? Then they feel that I'm independent. They feel they're independent. And then when they see when they go broke, again they come back to parents. They realize that they are not independent. They realize they're dependent. You getting it? So, but this says, okay, so here, conventionally, we say, okay, now I'm independent. The parents are so happy. Now my child is independent. He's independent, she's independent, right? But the child also has to continue, every day has to go for breakfast, yes? Every day has to depend on breakfast. Every day has to depend on the food for the survival. Every day has to depend on somebody else for the support and help, right? For example, we live in India here. We feel so safe. We are so safe here. At the border, do you know how many people are, having border tensions there? And these people are defending us. We can stay so comfortably here. We are dependent on them. We don't know this, but we are dependent on them. This is reality. You're getting it? Whereas if India is a country where everything is like dictator or like what? The dictatorial and communism and total nasty communism. We cannot have the class here. Impossible. Impossible. So whereas we can easily have the class here, so beautiful, amazing. So which means it's all dependent on a very good, they say, the system, democratic system. Dependent on that we can so comfortably stay here. We're also dependent on the presence of this Tushita here. Without the Tushita, we cannot have this program. We are dependent on so many factors, but conventionally speaking, we say that the mother can say that, oh, now my child is independent. So that is on independence in ways that the child does not have to come to the mother for the money all the time, right? The child is more mature, can think properly. So this is what conventionally known as the independence. So same word can be understood in different levels. So in a very loose sense, we can say we are more independent, but in a strict sense, we say that we're still dependent, that everything is dependent originated, nothing independently exists. Good? Okay. So we do have still have time. So with this, what we've learned is, so from this, the emptiness, to understand emptiness more, you have to understand dependent origination more. The more you understand dependent origination, the more you understand emptiness will be accurate. If you don't think about dependent origination, your emptiness understanding is bound to fall into nihilism. So therefore, always keep in mind to think of dependent origination. Okay, so with this in mind, so dependent origination, there are three levels. There are three levels of dependent origination. This is so important for us to think of the three levels of dependent origination. The first one is dependent origination of the results dependence on the causes. Dependent origination of the results dependence on the causes. Dependent origination of the results dependence on causes. Number one. Causes. C-A-U-S-E-S, causes. Not courses. But what is American accent?
Was it one point or two different points?
Say it again.
Cause and results the same or is it two points?
What is the question? Oh, the point one. Thank you. Okay. Point number two. Dependent origination of wholes, W-H-O-L-E. Wholes dependence on the parts. P-A-R-T-S, parts. Parts in American, parts in British. Yeah. Dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on parts. P-A-R-T-S. Number three. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental imputation / designation. Dependent origination of dependence on mere, M-E-R-E, mere mental imputation / designation, which means imputation designation can be used as interchangeably. Number three, dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Designation / mere mental imputation / designation. Why I prefer the word imputation first is because we learned the imputed nature. So to connect the two. Okay, by the way, we are yet to finish the interpretation. Right? Oh, you didn't remind me.
I've got this really in.
Okay, your name again? Cress. Okay, I'm gonna ask your name over and over again, don't worry. Okay. Okay, so first let me finish this. 3 levels of dependent origination. And then after this, the Cress, you remind me to go back to the,
Three wheels of
3 wheels, particularly number 3. Number 3, the third wheel. How the Buddha interpreted his own teachings. Yes. Yes. I'm thankful to Cress for her to, so to have brought this question up during the last session. Okay, remind me in case of, again, if I skip. Okay, 3 levels of dependent origination. The first one, what's the first one? Dependent origination of the results depends on the causes. If possible, try to give me full, because I gave you full. I give you full, you expect to give me full, right? Tell me what is the first level of dependent results depends on causes. No, I give you dependent origination of results depends on the causes. Okay, this is a very important part. So for this, there is one sutra. Sutra means the Buddha's teachings. Buddha's own teachings referred to as sutra. And of course, the other traditions, like non-Buddhist traditions, they also refer to the teachings of the masters as sutras. But in the Buddhist context, sutras are the teachings given by the Buddha. And the later commentators, like the great masters such as Nagarjuna and so forth, we don't call their writings as sutras. Their writings more as commentaries. Okay, so in sutra precisely, this is known as the rice seedling sutra, Salistamba Sutra. Salistamba Sutra, in English, rice seedling sutra. R-I-C-E, rice, seedling, seed, S-E-E-D-L-I-N-G, rice seedling sutra. In Rice Seedling Sutra, the Buddha taught, these are the lines we have to remember. The Buddha taught that whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma. Whosoever sees the Dharma will see the enlightenment. Let me repeat it. Whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma. Whosoever sees the Dharma will see the enlightenment. Always see the Buddha. Buddha here doesn't mean the Buddha Shakyamuni himself. It means that you will become Buddha. You will become an enlightened being. Whoever sees dependent origination will see the Dharma. Whoever sees the Dharma will see the Buddha.
You will see the enlightenment.
Enlightenment, technically in Sanskrit, Buddha. Okay. And then the Buddha went on to add that because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. Because of ignorance, karma is created. Because of karma, consciousness is created. Because of consciousness, name and form is created. Okay, let me repeat it. The second set of the teaching on the dependent origination. Because this exists, that exists. In other words, say apple tree exists because of the apple seed. Because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. Because of ignorance, karma is created. Because of karma, consciousness is created. Because of consciousness, name and form is created. Because name and form, the sources are created. Because of sources, the content is created. Because of content, the feeling is created. Because of feeling, the grasping is created. Because of grasping, the existence is created. Existence of birth is created. Aging and death is created. Okay.
Is there a page number?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell the page number around now. Okay, I'm joking. Which page? 63. Is it 63 or everyone same? Huh?
Everybody 60.
63. Good. Okay. Whoever sees, yes, 63, the line 4, bhikshus, whoever sees dependent arising, or dependent arising, dependent origination, this is a matter of English translation. They mean the same. Whoever sees dependent arising sees the Dharma. Whoever sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. Well, the phrase dependent arising means that because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. That is to say, ignorance causes formation, formation meaning karma here. The karma causes consciousness, the consciousness causes name and form, and so forth. Okay, so from this what we learn is that if you know dependent origination well, then your behaviors, your thinking behavior, your physical behavior, your verbal behaviors will change. So that from this, who's that? The gentleman there, what is your name? Yes. Martin. So what Martin talked about, the cessation of afflictions. So understanding dependent origination well, then your afflictions will stop. That's the Dharma. And Dharma has many connotations here. I don't want to go into too detail. Say, with the understanding of dependent origination will make you see the Dharma, meaning your spiritual realizations will come. Cessation of the mental stains will happen. When that happens, keep doing this, then eventually you will attain the perfection. That is the Buddhahood. Right? And then the next one says, because this exists, that exists. Because this produced, that is produced. Because of ignorance, karma is created. Because of karma, consciousness is created. Because of consciousness, name and form is created, and so forth. Okay, so the second part, because this produced, because this exists, that exists. So for this, and this is what is known as the three conditions of dependent origination. Three conditions of dependent origination. Right? There are so many numbers: 3, 12, 4, 2, right? 5. Okay, don't mix up these things. Three conditions of dependent origination. Three conditions. The first one is the unwavering condition. Unwavering condition. Unwavering condition. Number 2 is the condition of impermanence. Condition of impermanence. Number 2. Condition of impermanence. Number 3, the condition of potentiality. Condition of potentiality. 3 conditions. It's beautiful. Say the first one. What's the first one? Unwavering condition. Or where, say, something happens, right? People complain that sometimes we become sick. Sometimes, we become sick, we go through tragic situations, and then sometimes we blame the God, right? Sometimes we blame God, sometimes we blame Buddha. Right? Why? I didn't do anything bad. Why this illness should happen to me? Why this doesn't happen to the bad people? Why it doesn't happen to the Putin? He's so healthy. Trump, so healthy. Why not this thing happen to them? Why it happens to me? Oftentimes it happens. How many heard these things? Raise hands. If you're not the one, for sure you must have heard this from somebody else. Blaming God, blaming the Buddha, blaming, others for this. So it says, because this exists and that exists, you're suffering. Whatever is, don't blame the Buddha, don't blame the God. All these, they come into existence by a specific cause. There should be a cause there. Because the cause exists, the result comes into existence. For example, okay, how many you will go through the tragedy 2 years from now? Raise hands. How many you go through the tragedy 2 years from now? Not sure. How many will have a cheesecake? Cheesecake on a specific date. On the 1st of 2024. 1st June of 2024. Not sure. The causes, for example, all what we are going through, all experience that we are going through, right? These are all the results of your previous causes. What are the previous causes? Your own karmas. And the karmas, who accumulated these karmas? Who created these karmas for you? You did it in the past. You did it in the past. So these karmas, they are like the arrows being shot in the air. How many arrows shot? Millions of arrows already shot by you from past life. And all the arrows that they're in the air. The air rushing towards you. And they hit one by one. Tuck, 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 tuck. Right? Right? Yeah. Right? Oh, it's very cold. There's a sun there. Right? Very cold. Very cold means you are not too happy. Not too happy. So the arrow of the cold thing hit you. Right? Okay. Then you go to sun. Oh, it's very pleasant. Say arrow, pleasant arrow. Nice arrow hits you. Arrow hits you and you have a pleasant feeling. Right? So what kind of arrows are there? We never know. Arrow of cancer can be there. We never know. Right? Very scary. Even arrow of, I don't mean to be inauspicious, but this is a reality. Arrow of even accidents can be there. Any accident can happen. I remember when I must be age 8 or 9. I was almost electrocuted. Very scary. Okay, how many of you know that someday, I don't know whether it's the earth thing or whatever, you hold it and it can't really hold you. You get stuck there. How many know that resonance? Very scary, right? If you don't have experience, don't try this. I was literally got stuck there, and then people say that if you get stuck there, somebody doesn't rescue you, then your blood will dry and you'll die. It's not like electrocution in ways of the positive thing. It can really just instantly kill you. But earthing, if it is not done well, it can really just stick your hands get stuck there in this wire like this, and then was stuck there for a few seconds, and then the elderly lady, the foster mother, she rescued me, pulled me, and finally, this boy was saved. Otherwise, no, I could not meet you. Very scary. It can happen anytime. Any tragedy can hit us anytime. So what kind of arrows coming hitting? We never know. You getting it? Okay. So the point is that because this exists, that exists. This is the first condition. unwavering condition of dependent origination, which means that all our experiences must have the earlier causes. Number two, what is the number two condition? Condition of impermanence. That the cause must be impermanent. If the cause is permanent, it cannot give rise to the result. Cause must be impermanent. For example, apple seed. You plant the apple seed and the apple tree grows. Apple seed should disappear. Getting it? Apple seed, when the apple tree grows, then the apple seed should die. And this is what Charles Darwin also said. Charles Darwin said, why the parents, they love their children so much? Why the children, they don't love the parents? It's because of the evolution. How evolution? For the evolution, what is important? According to Charles Darwin, what's the meaning, the purpose of the evolution?
Creation.
Just to continue the species. To continue the species, procreation should be there. Who is important? Children are important. Parents, their job is done. Now you are redundant. Right? So the parents, the children, they don't have to love you too much. This is according to Charles Darwin, which is a disaster. Right? The purpose of the evolution is not just for the survival of the species. It is his interpretation. It cannot be proved. In fact, the Buddha said, each and every one of you is important. Whether you're 10 years old, or whether you're 80 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old, it doesn't matter. Everyone is important. Because Charles Darwin talks about our physical body. He does not talk about your mind. Your mind came from your previous life. And some of you will ask, how do you know this previous life? This is where Pramanavartika, chapter 2, by Dharmakirti, that plays a very important role to establish what the rebirth is. It's a very interesting topic. Once I was in one country, I'll not disclose this country. I was in a country and I met a couple, and the husband is a physicist. And the lady is following Buddhism. And the lady wants the husband to be Buddhist. And the husband is a physicist and he doesn't care about religion. And she was so insistent that when I come to her country, I should stay with her. He was so insistent. And my main host is also very insistent that I stay with him. So the first day, it does not happen. And second year, she was again insisting on the host that I should stay with her. And finally, the host was so kind to give 1 day. Otherwise, the rest of the many days I was kept in the host place. So 1 day he said, you can go now. So I was there. At the moment I was there, her physicist's husband, were there, and then she served me tea, high tea. And what is high tea? It's not actual high tea, it's a high discussion. And she said, Geshe-la, tell me something about reincarnation. How can we know reincarnation? I said, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. For this topic, you should be extremely fresh. You should be extremely fresh. I'm so tired. We're traveling, all this travel. I'm so tired out of the energy. Then the dinner time on the table, food served. Geshe-la, what about reincarnation? I said, I'm so tired. So now her time is finished, right? So her purpose of inviting me is defeated. So she said that, then she pointed to the husband, saying that he's the one who doesn't believe in rebirth. Actually, she wanted me to explain the rebirth so that the husband is convinced that rebirth is there and therefore he can become a Buddhist. This was the agenda of inviting me there. Then I was looking at staring at him, and he was staring at me like this. Okay, two of us staring at each other. And then I said, okay, then I felt really the empathy towards the lady. Then told him that you're a physicist. You have a brilliant brain. You're so bright. Of course, he's a brilliant physicist. They say the very intellectual mind. And you have a special gift of thinking power. And if you use this thinking power just to fill your belly, everybody can fill the belly. It doesn't require this brilliant brain. Brilliant brain, to have this brilliant brain, you must be able to utilize in a very different way, which the ordinary people cannot think of. So you should think of something more profound topics rather than just getting food for you to fill your belly with the food. What's the topic? Like rebirth. Don't start by saying that rebirth is there. So he said it, it must be there. Buddha said there must be there. No, don't start with this. Rebirth, does it really exist? Start with the open question. Does it exist? If somebody says yes, then you have to ask how. This is how you have to explore. Don't just be oblivious to this question altogether. If you're being oblivious, there's a danger there. What's the danger? Small children, a small child, let's say age 6, 7, 8. Most likely the child will say that I will not go to school. How many of you said that I will not go to school when you were a small child? Raise hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, raise hands. Be very honest. I don't want to go to school. I want to keep playing here. Raise hands. I'm sick. Raise hands. Yeah, proxy. Okay. So then, if your parents said, "Okay, yeah, you are sick. I'm sorry," right? You can play, right? If this is what if the parents ask you to do, you don't go to school. Don't go to school. One day you will become 20 years old. You will not remain as a young child all the time. You'll become 20 years old. At that point, then you will fight with the parents, saying that you are the one who did not send me to school. You're getting it? But as the parents, why you don't want to go to school at that age? Why the parents are forcing you to go to school? Not really forcing, persuading you to go to school. Why? Because the parents can see more than what is today. You agree with me? Well, you as a small child, you cannot see what is after 5 years, what is after 20 years. You cannot see that at that point in time. You agree with me? So therefore, say, if we don't analyze the rebirth, and if the rebirth does exist, then you are not prepared for the next birth. You are like a small child. Whereas you have a brilliant mind to examine, analyze if such a rebirth exists or not. Why don't you examine it? Why don't you utilize this brain, this beautiful, amazing brain to analyze this topic? So if there is rebirth, it's very scary that you're not prepared. Like a small child, not thinking about the 20 years later, then you don't go to school, and then suddenly you are there, only 20 years old, and then you regret, right? You're not prepared. So this is what can happen. So this is the kind of discussion that two of us had, the physicists. And then of course I'm thinking of I'm already in my way to write a book on the reincarnation, about rebirth related to the neuroscience and what is presented in Pramanavartika, and how you can, say, rationally speak about from the point of the biology and so forth. So this is what I'm in the process of writing. Okay, and he said that, okay, I'll be the first person to read the book. This is what he said. Okay, so this is a very serious question. Very serious question. Why did I say this? Okay, whoever says dependent origination will see the dharma. Dependent origination, there are 3 kinds. Number 1 is dependent origination of the results, depends on the causes. You're getting it? So here, in this context, there's a cause effect which 2 people brought up. These are, and the gentleman, your name? Naveen, and these are 2 of you brought up, the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. So law of cause and effect comes out of this first level of dependent origination. This is so important. Whole universe is operating on the principle of the first level of dependent origination. Whole universe. How the Big Bang started with the singularity. From the singularity, how the Big Bang started 15 billion years ago. Then 4.6 billion years ago, the planet Earth came into existence out of the sun. And the sun came out of the Milky Way galaxy. So the sun, and the planet Earth, say they came out 4.6 billion years ago. So this is all cause effect, cause effect, cause effect. And 4 billion years ago, then gradually the planet Earth cooled down. According to physics, cooled down. Then 4 billion years ago, it cooled down to a great extent that the water was formed. Water was formed. With the water, then unicellular organism came into existence. That was 4.6 billion, 4 billion years ago. Then gradually, the unicellular organism, it became more and more complicated, complex, and then eventually, say like several million years ago, the dinosaurs came into existence, and 0.3 million years ago, the Homo sapiens came into existence. And this is this is how we came into existence on this planet Earth. It's all cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. Now, within the cause effect, there are two kinds. One, where your mental intentions involved. Mental intention involved, and where mental intentions is not involved. There are two. For example, let's say, this flower in my hand, and if somebody pushes the flower like this, the flower will not come back on its own. Whereas somebody pushes me like this, I can come back. What makes me come back is there's a mental intention there to come back. Mental intention there. So where the mental intention is involved, that cause and effect relationship is known as karmic cause and effect. But the mental intentions involved, that cause and effect is known as karmic cause and effect. Whereas the cause and effect is there, but where the mental intention is not involved, that is known as the non-karmic cause and effect. For example, let's say that I hit this gong, it made a sound. So why is it that this gong will say that, okay, he hit me, so I have to shout? No, there's no intention there. It's purely mechanical. What is purely mechanical is known as the non-karmic cause and effect. Whereas, so this hand, whether it will hit the gong or not hit, that depends on my intention. So that becomes the karmic cause and effect. But once I hit, that it made a sound, it has no intention involved. Once I hit, then the sound is erupted, that is a non-karmic cause and effect. For example, sunflower. Say sunflower is directed towards the west. In the morning, sun rises, it turns towards the east. That is purely mechanical. And touch me not. Touch me not. You touch it, is out of fear? No, it's purely mechanical. Right? Okay, then you caress it. After touching it, it shrinks. You caress it, again it will come out. No, it will not come out. Right? So there's certain set that the chemical effect is, till the chemical effect is there, it'll keep shrinking. And gradually it'll come out when the chemical effect is gone. Again, you touch it, chemical reaction happens. So for us, and the two things can overlap. Karmic cause and effect, non-karmic cause and effect can overlap. Okay, for example, people snore. I'm not asking whether you snore. But people snore, right? When you sleep, people snore. Some people don't snore, right? Some, particularly for, say, like retreats, right? Two people should be together, roommates, Somebody's going to allocate, okay, two of you will to be together. If the other person snores, it's a disaster, right? It's a problem, not disaster, problem. So then nobody wants to snore, and you feel a little uncomfortable. And of course, that you are snoring is also the result of a previous karma. That you are not snoring is also because of the previous karma. You're getting it? And How does the mechanism, what's the mechanism of snoring? That you make the sound through the breathing. And how this sound comes through what? Because of the breathing, then they say the what? The airways, right? The membrane, nostril membranes. So they are more like touching, and then you breathe, then it makes sounds, right? Sounds. Okay. So that makes sound that involves a pure non-karmic, I say, mechanism. But overall speaking, it is because of you having must accumulate some small negative karma in the past that you snore this time. Okay. So the point is that there's an overlap of the karmic cause and effect and non-karmic cause and effect is there. Yes.
I think you forgot to mention what the potentiality condition
It's yet to come. Still be on the first one. Right? Okay, it's already 12:51. Being carried away. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha